Very good.
Delicious. Got the D-backs, the jalapeno hamachi, and the Philly. Full fat and happy. What's going on, Unfazed patrons? We're doing a little bonus for you guys because we love you. Yeah, we're doing a little Stogies. I got a Surrogates with an S at the end. Surrogates, plural. Cigar. It's okay. I've had these before when they're fresh and they're really, really good. This one was in the back of my car for like a week and a half, so it's a little dry. Not the best.
Yeah, this one's been in my cabinet for a while too. So
yeah,
we're having a dry smoke tonight.
What do you have right here?
Leaf by Oscar.
Leaf by Oscar.
It was
way
a leaf.
to go.
No, it's a little too dry.
Now it's a combustible. It's always combustible.
Combustible by Oscar.
Now it's a twig.
Twig
a
by
twig
Oscar.
by Oscar. But anyway, we just kind of wanted to chill and see how you guys are doing because I know some of you guys said you wanted more opportunity to engage with us and more behind the scenes footage. Behind the scenes footage. Yes, how you say? I'm French. So that was actually 50-50. Like you guys voted on behind the scenes and hanging with us. So this is kind of both, you know. So this is the hanging part of that request. So hope you guys are doing good.
Yeah. So I, full disclosure, I think I sort of ambiguated on the channel, but I'm a teacher. And,
holy shit!
Oh goddamn! And we had a PD day today, which means professional development. They love acronyms. They can turn anything into an acronym.
Character counts.
I don't know what half of them mean, to be honest. There's so many fucking acronyms. But we had a PD day, which means they're not acronyms, just like initials.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Professional development, and they had a speaker.
Like
come
every
in.
letter stands for something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they had a speaker come in, and the story they told was like crazy. And I'm surprised it's not a movie. And it was one of those things where at parts I was like, I don't like fully believe this, but they presented it to us and they're going to present it to the students tomorrow. And I think just based on the fact of what it is, like it has to be true.
Okay.
And I thought you'd appreciate it. I think it was cool. It's got a little bit of
an unfazed flair?
An unfazed, well, not even an unfazed flair, but sort of an otherworldly, spiritual aspect to it. Just very interesting.
Okay.
So it was about this girl named Rachel. She's a 16-year-old high school student. And
true story?
Yeah, true story. This is absolutely true.
Okay.
It's just fucking mind-blowing. Just a sweet, nice young girl. It was all about like trying to sort of like pay it forward kind of thing. She likes to try and spread kindness. That's her whole MO.
Sure.
So they mentioned that she was really into Anne Frank and Martin Luther King. Those were like her two favorite.
Okay.
Which we all learned about in high school, so it makes sense.
Fun fact, those two actually dated.
Yeah. So those were her big inspirations. And she kept a diary because of Anne Frank, and she wrote all about she was like really good in English, and all her writing was
that
very
can't
like,
end well if you're trying to model yourself after.
Yeah, right, yeah. And all her writing was very inspirational, and she was all about like doing really good. And they give a couple little instances where she like helped out other students. There was this dude who had some like weird facial deformity. It looked really fucked up. And the picture they showed of him, he had like a cowboy hat on, so I'm just gonna call him the cowboy because I forget his name.
Okay.
So it was this weird fucked up dude, and he was always getting bullied. This was like 1998, and he was always getting bullied and
freaks and cowboy geeks.
Yeah, freaks and cowboy geeks. Everyone was mean to him, and his face was all fucked up. And he was like thinking about ending things.
That's a shame.
Yeah. But one day, he's getting bullied by these two guys, like pushing him up against a locker, calling him a freak and all this stuff. Classic. And Rachel like hears this going on down the hall, and she like stands in between him and the bullies. This like little pale skinny girl.
Yeah.
She's really sweet looking. She looks really nice, and she like puts her arms up. She's like, you gotta get through me to, if you're gonna bully him. And then she like drove the bad guy, the bullies off, and she like asked if he was okay. And I guess after that, she like made a point to say hi to him and smile and wave every time she saw him in the hallways. And she introduced him to her friends.
She's like, I'm glad I saved you, but you gotta ditch the cowboy hat. You gotta ditch it, man.
Yeah, I hope he did. Made things worse. But so like ultimately that guy like decided to turn things around after that and not go, like he had the whole plan of like how to kill himself and stuff, and he decided to forego it after that. Yeah.
Good.
And
good.
Then there was this other girl, she was a new girl. She had just moved to the school. Her dad put her in there because her mom had just been in a car accident and died or something. and the kids didn't know this. She was like the new girl, and I guess she was getting bullied too. And she did, you know, the classic like cafeteria scene. She tries to sit down and says like, "Hey," and everyone's like, "Fucking freak," and they leave or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Rachel sees this happening, and she tries to like, she goes over and like asks if she could sit down, and the new girl declines, and she's like, "All right." But then she like comes back with all of her friends and sort of forcefully sits down and like tries to get her in on the conversation and makes your day better.
That's nice.
Yeah, yes, it's nice.
Yeah.
And so it's all these like good deeds she's doing, and she has this diary where she's constantly talking about. Because there's this one quote by Martin Luther King she likes that is like a chain reaction of darkness or whatever. You know, he has that quote where it's like, "Darkness will not drive out darkness, only light can do that," blah, blah, blah. And there was going to be like a spiral of darkness, whatever. So her whole like philosophy was like, let's do the reverse, the chain reaction of like, you know, kindness and goodness or whatever. So she was always talking about that in her diary. And her dad was named Frank. And he had this random, like, he was like a manager of some car sales place. He was like this car salesman. He was a completely unrelated guy. This car salesman calls Frank, Rachel's dad, and he says, like, "I had this dream, and I, like, had to find you in the phone book. I don't know who you are, but I had this dream, and I know it's, like, connected to you. I had a dream that I saw, like, this young girl's eyes, and they were crying, and then the tears were like watering the ground and creating life, like foliage and stuff." And he was like, he was like this otherwise normal guy, but he was just like, "I just think it's really important. Does that mean anything to you?" And Frank was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." And the car salesman was like, "Well, here's my number, and please just like call me if anything comes up regarding that, because I just feel like it's really important."
Wow.
And the dad was like, "All right, whatever the fuck."
Okay.
And then Rachel starts having these her diary entries get a little different, and she starts thinking that, like, in her diary entries she's saying, "I'm gonna have a huge impact on the world, like I don't know how, but like I just know I'm gonna like have a big impact on the world, and I'm gonna die young." She's like, these two things, like I just know they're gonna happen.
Wow. And
she was like very plain about it, and her whole family was like, yeah, she always just said she knew she wasn't gonna live for a long time, even though she's like this healthy, normal, nice girl or whatever.
Okay.
And so one day she's like laying in the grass at lunchtime outside of their school library, and she becomes the first victim of the Columbine shooting.
Holy shit.
Crazy. Fucking crazy. She's the first, and she like barely even saw it coming. She's like laying there having lunch.
Yeah.
Like 4 bullet holes from the Uzi or whatever.
Fuck.
And yeah. And her backpack becomes evidence because it has like bullet holes through it. And so like 2 weeks later, finally the dad gets it back because it was like, you know, evidence and everything.
Yeah.
And he's going through the backpack, and her diary's in there, and he turns to the last page of the diary, and it's a drawing of 2 eyes crying, and it's making a rose.
Damn.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
And then some random car salesman
Yeah. He just like
had this vision.
Yeah.
And then reached out to the dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the dad was like, I was like speechless for an hour, just like staring at this page.
That's crazy.
Fucking insane.
And who was responsible for telling this story at the school?
To
you and to
it
the
was
kids?
I don't know like who she was, but she was like friends with the family, and it's like she goes around and like tells the story and
And it was
stuff.
in person?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's more impact. Was it like an assembly?
Yeah, it was assembly type thing.
That's
yeah.
great, man.
Fucking insane.
That's good when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
good.
Yeah, it was weird.
So be nice to people.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And don't shoot innocent people.
Yeah, crazy story. And I was like, it was like the whole time I'm looking at it, I mean, like the video and everything they're playing, the whole presentation was kind of cheesy, but I was thinking like, this is making a fucking incredible movie. And she also had a brother who was like in the library, and most of the shit went down in the library. I don't know if you've like ever seen the video, and the brother had like 2 friends with him at the time, and they were all obviously told to go like under the tables, and like the 2 friends on either side of him got shot and killed, and he was like about to be next, and then for some reason they got distracted and left. He was like almost the next one to go. Damn, fucking insane. Yeah.
That's the scariest shit ever.
Crazy.
I used to work with a guy. I won't say his name, but super funny guy. He actually is on a podcast, and maybe one day, you know, the paths will cross for our channels. Yeah. But super funny guy, like legitimately one of the funniest people I've ever met at a job.
Sweet.
And I used to sit next to him at work, and he told me his school was involved in a mass shooting in high school, and he said he was in the class and it happened in the hallway right outside of the class he was in. And he said some kid came with a shotgun and started offing people. And he said so now it's like he can't do fireworks, he can't do stuff like that.
God.
Tries to steer clear of violent movies because he says it just like as strong as he thinks he is, like even though it was like 10 years ago, he'd still like immediately just panic.
I'm sure I'd be like
he said it hits him like he said fireworks like the worst. Like he like has to like, you know, put in earplugs on the 4th of July and chill.
That's so sad.
But that kind of stuff, yeah, you can imagine how it would really fuck you up. I don't really have any more to say on that story, but it just made me think of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just thought it blew me away, because my expectations were so low.
It blew her away.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
but yeah, I mean, I was at work and they're like, we gotta watch this thing. And I was like, oh fuck. What the hell?
But it was actually good.
Yeah, it was actually incredible. The only thing, like, I told you it without telling you it was about Columbine until the end, but they like introduced it as like, so I think it would be cooler if you
good to have more impact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that would be a beautiful, poetic little short film.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
What was great story? Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
What was the most impactful assembly you had ever when you were in school? We had a couple good ones when I was in school. You didn't have any good ones?
Our like orchestra played fucking national anthem a couple times. I remember that. Nothing emotional though. Nothing.
Lame.
No, I know. Yeah, no good speakers. It was always just like the football team won again. Yeah, exactly. What
Nothing.
years though? I had
Nothing
really
at all?
I mean, they were fun. I look back on them fondly. I was sitting with my friends, high school, cool, whatever. But again, no great speakers. Nothing I remember.
Wow, we had actually two really cool ones. First one was in junior high, I want to say like 8th grade, and we had a Vietnam vet come talk to us.
That's dope. Yeah.
And he was like a helicopter gunner.
Sick.
And it was just really cool hearing his stories. I remember some kid was like, "Did you kill anybody?" And he was like, "I was a helicopter gunner."
Yeah.
He was like, "Next question." So that was super interesting. And then we had it, which I feel like they would not do now.
No, never. Yeah.
No, and this dude was like,
even at the thing they showed us today, they were like, "We're gonna really water this down for the kids."
Yeah,
and
good.
I was like,
good.
Maybe you shouldn't. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes this stuff is good.
Yeah.
And then the second most impactful one I almost didn't go to, but I remember my favorite teacher in high school, Mr. Zamar. Shout out to Mr. Zamar.
I love Mr. Zamar.
My history teacher and government teacher.
Great man.
I remember him telling me and Alan, he's like, "Hey, you guys should go to this." And it was a Native American wind talker. You know, the guys who did the code talking?
Yeah.
And he was coming to give a talk. And I remember he's like, "You guys should go." He's like, "Because these guys aren't going to be around for much longer."
Shit.
And he's like, "This was like a World War II vet." God. And we were like, okay, so we went and we listened, and it was like haunting.
Shit.
And like the dude was like really old at the time,
man.
and we were like probably like 16.
Haunting.
So it was like one of those where it was like super crazy. I can't remember any specifics, but just the war stories were like really intense.
Yeah.
And the dude's probably, I would say, 100% dead right now.
Yeah.
And we also had a Holocaust survivor come and talk to us, which was pretty interesting.
Shit, that's cool.
Yeah, but the most interesting one I think was probably the code talker and the Vietnam vet. But
that's fucking cool.
Those are pretty cool. But that one sounds sick with the Columbine.
Fucking crazy. Yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Hardcore
And the whole like almost like heavenly element with the premonition and everything. That random fucking guy calling.
There's something about that. I do think that there's, if you want to get zen and stuff.
And she just knew she was like, I'm just gonna die. Like, I know that.
Very matter of fact.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. Very just,
There's something to it that I think hasn't been fully experienced. I don't know if science and people just don't want to believe it, or there's something about it that seems a little too kind of woo-woo and kind of out there a little bit.
Can't explain any of it. Yeah.
But the fact that we can't explain it doesn't mean that it's not real.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, obviously there was something to it, that her believing that she wasn't going to live a long life, true. Mm-hmm. The guy contacting the father with the vision, it's like what is that?
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, you talk to some people about that and people brush it off real quick. But like, I feel like there should be like a branch of science dedicated to that type of stuff.
The X-Files.
The X-Files. Yes. Hence why I love the X-Files.
Yeah. No, but it's
That was a great story.
Yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and that was just today.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. There were a couple of people crying in the audience.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was just like, this could be a really good movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Then you're like, that was great. What time are we going to hear?
Yeah. I left immediately after that.
Yeah, of course. But I'm glad it was beneficial.
It was beneficial.
Official. Yes. Very great. Very good.
That should be your Twitter handle.
Official. Yeah. My Spotify is Zenwave.
Oh.
Zenwave 93.
Zenwave.
Yeah.
Zenwave.
Yeah, and also Zen Harrison is another one.
Oh,
I use that one.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
How are you guys doing?
My grandpa was like a bomber pilot in World War II.
I remember you saying
that.
And
he never said anything specific, but he was like, I saw a lot of stuff I couldn't explain up there, and that was it.
Really?
Yeah. He never said, because we were so young. He died when I was 9 or something. But he never got into details, but he was always like, some shit
That's
up
interesting.
there.
Wow. My grandpa was in the Navy in World War II. And he obviously never saw any action, but he said the closest he came to having anything like crazy violent happen was there was a suicide bomber, the kamikaze pilots, coming at his ship. And he was on the deck of the ship. it was coming down. It was gonna hit their ship. It got caught between these two like cables that went between these two ships because they would connect to other ships to refuel.
Yeah.
So there were all these wires like connecting, like holding the ships together.
Yeah.
And the plane got caught and flew into the ocean. And like literally like did not hit either ship. And my grandpa like looked up and saw it and was like, "Thank you." Yeah. So just think like things like that. I mean, you can't explain, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild stuff.
Jesus.
Weird wild stuff. Yes. That's wild.
Anyway,
I wonder if they ever crossed paths.
Yeah. You never know. You never fucking
World
know.
War II?
Yeah. World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, World War
And then my dad's uncle was like an assassin in World War II. He like, like a spy, whatever the fuck you call it.
It's a very bean side of the family.
Yeah. And he has a, I guess some of the Chinese officers still carried like samurai swords. They were more decorative.
For Harry Carey?
Yeah, but they're fucking sharp as shit.
It's all good.
And his uncle took one off of an officer he killed.
Holy shit.
My dad still has it. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Whoa. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Well, I'll
we should bring that on a pod sometime.
That'd be a great pod, yeah.
Yeah. The sacrificial Japanese...
The Harry Carey podcast.
Harry Carey sword. Harry Carey pod. Harry Carey pod. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, shit, yeah, that's fucking crazy. And it's always interesting that, like, older people, like, my two parents, too, I was telling my mom this story earlier today, and my dad, I didn't tell this specific story to my dad, but whenever we talk about, like, that, like, higher level, supernatural type stuff, they're very, like, calmly matter-of-fact about it. They're like, there's a lot of shit we don't know, and they're like, they just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like, they both just believe in it. Yeah. They're not, like, into it, and my mom was like really averse to horror movies, and my dad like thinks they're dumb for the most part. They're not like into that stuff in pop culture,
but they acknowledge
it. They believe it. Yeah. It's like very on a very zen level. Yeah,
zen and
they
stuff.
just accept it. Yeah, they are zen and stuff.
That's cool. My mom is very attuned to that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff where like she'll have like dreams or like premonitions of stuff, and like it's true.
So cool.
And it's super interesting. One time one thing that happened fairly recently, when my grandma passed away, my dad's mother, they went to the funeral home to take care of the arrangements and everything. And as soon as my mom walked in, she said, I can't remember the lady's exact name, but it was a like a kind of a unique name, like the name Evelyn came into her mind. We'll just say Evelyn. And she went up to the lady, that was like in charge of the funeral home, and was like, "Hey, does the name Evelyn mean anything to you?" And the lady stopped and looked at her and said, "Yeah, she was one of the oldest residents in this town, and she just passed away, and she was just brought in like an hour ago."
Oh my god!
And my mom was like, "I don't know why that name just came to me," and it was like a specific name like that, and it was also a small town up in Wickenburg, so like people weren't dying left and right up there.
But your mom is very attuned with that stuff. It's interesting. It's cool.
Which is pretty cool. I wish I was too. Yeah, but that kind of stuff is always amazing, and it's always very matter of fact with her because she has it happen so frequently.
Yeah.
She'll tell me a story like that, and I'm like, I don't know, it's fucking crazy. Like, but it's like it happens to her. Like I would say, I don't know, you have something like that maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, wow, that's very specific. Yeah. Interesting.
Super interesting. Yeah.
What I was thinking for this one, I love giving this to the patrons, but I think this might be a good one to drop for the patrons first, and then also share in the Discord, so some of the other crew can kind of see what they're missing out on.
Early access patrons.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like once we get a few more patrons on there, we can kind of do more grand Patreon exclusives.
Yeah. Give them a tease like this is what you'll get.
Yeah, this is what you'll get.
Up close with Unfazed.
I'll drop it first for the patrons, and then after a few days, throw it in the Discord so you guys can kind of see what it's all about, and consider joining and becoming a patron because your boys need you, and we like the support. We like the support. Anyway, this was fun.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah,
anything else you'd like to conclude with, Baboon?
Just that I love the patrons, and
this cigar wasn't that good.
Yeah, neither was mine.
Too dry.
But we did it for the pod, the 20-minute pod.
It was nice. Nice little hang.
Yeah, and also that we're I know I am. We were talking about it more lately. Still itching to do bigger projects, and I'm every once in a while I just get so sick of the 9 to 5 thing.
100%.
Well, that itch is always there. It's important.
Yeah, well, we do have plans to do some short films. Stay tuned, of course. And then I know people voted on the YouTube community tab that they'd like to see an Old Western historical vlog.
Okay.
So at some point, hopefully before the month of April is over, we'll get you something in that regard. Maybe something to do with Cottonwood or Old Tombstone Studios or something like that.
Beautiful.
But stay tuned. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Well, remain unfazed, and thanks for being great patrons.
See you soon.
Goodbye.